Good evening, and welcome to ND Anti-Racist Theater Now, Scenes from Plays by BIPOC Playwrights, the third in a series of events offered by the Notre Dame Department of Film, Television, and Theater. My name is Anne García-Romero, and I'm an associate professor of theater. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the curator of this evening's readings. Before we begin this evening's presentation, we feel we must acknowledge that our campus community has suffered a tragic loss this past weekend with the passing of first-year students Valeria Espinel and Olivia Lara Rojas. In the intricate connectedness of today's world, this loss has directly impacted some of our performers. We would like to hold a few moments of silence to honor Valeria and Olivia as we keep them and their loved ones in our thoughts and prayers. We'll begin our readings after this short interlude. Thank you. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Anne García-Romero, and I'm an associate professor of theater and curator of this evening's presentation. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a playwright and theater studies scholar, and I teach writing for the stage and screen as well as theater studies courses.
My name is Lucas Garcia, and I graduated from Notre Dame in 2015 with a dual major in FTT and English. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs. I'm a writer and dramaturg from Pueblo land, now called Albuquerque, New Mexico, currently based in land now called Chicago, Illinois. I also serve as the current board president of a racial justice education organization called Interaction. I will be moderating the discussion with Anne after the readings.
We want to welcome you to our evening of readings and first let you know a few aspects of the collaborative process in putting this evening together. We're presenting readings of 6 scenes written by Notre Dame playwrights, current students and alumni, as well as established BIPOC playwrights working in the U.S. theater today. The readings are directed by recent FTT alumni who currently either train or work in the field of U.S. theater, as well as FTT faculty. The students submitted audition videos, and we included the entire casting pool in our ensemble. We chose scenes that best highlighted the talent in our ensemble.
Each director rehearsed with their actors for up to 6 hours. These are rehearsed readings, so the actors will be reading the scenes on their screens during the presentation. Also, due to schedules and time zones, we are offering a hybrid presentation. The first 3 scenes will be read live. The last 3 scenes have been pre-recorded. Each reading is 10 minutes or less. Each director will briefly introduce their scene. After all 6 scenes are read, we will return here for a discussion with some of the artists who created this evening.
Our readings this evening are being produced by Platform, a new production company founded by Notre Dame alum Patrick Starner, St. Mary's alum Rachel Thomas, and current Notre Dame students Gabriel Krutt and James Cullinan. Many thanks to our talented alumni who are making this evening possible.
A complete program of this evening's presentation is listed below in the video description. During the reading, please feel free to use the live chat throughout the presentation. Also, please submit anonymous questions to the link provided in the chat so we can include your questions in our discussion at the end of the reading.
So we began this webinar series with a listening session, followed by a conversation with FTT alumni and faculty. And we conclude with this reading of scenes by BIPOC playwrights. Seeking racial equity is at the heart of this initiative for our department and for our field. FTT has created a statement on anti-racism and racial justice, a link for which is being placed in the chat. Lastly, we want to mention a content advisory. Some of these scenes employ strong language and explore sensitive topics. We'll see you after the readings for a discussion. And now, please enjoy ND Anti-Racist Theater Now, Scenes by BIPOC Playwrights.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria Menabar Farias. I am an alumni from Notre Dame, class of 2020, and I am currently getting my MFA in directing at Illinois State University. What you're about to watch is a scene from the play Exit Strategy by Ike Holter. Exit Strategy tells the story of a public school in Chicago that is due to close at the end of the year, and a group of individuals led by a vice principal who all join efforts to save the school. Holter was inspired by the 2013 mass closure of 49 Chicago public schools to write this play. This mass closure displaced nearly 12,000 children, the majority of these being Latinx and African American students. The scene you're about to watch involves Janaya, a young but tough Latinx teacher, and Luz, a more experienced but caring Latinx teacher. Joining me are Lamont Marino in the role of Luz and Lyric Medeiros in the role of Janaya. Enjoy.
Oh, wow.
See?
Wow. Wow. Holy shit. Wow.
I told you, see?
So this is like,
If you're asking me, nobody's ever asking me.
This is like, wow.
This is big, Luce. It's not just on your phone, it's everywhere. Whenever anyone goes to our website, our school website, they get this. That kid fucked up, and if he fights it, if he's a fool, if he's like a dumb, cocky, senioritis infected fool, well, I don't say this lightly, and it's not up to me. It's never up to me. But if it were up to me, then at the end of the day, I'd say he's getting expelled.
It's not up to you.
Yeah, it's never up to me. It's up to Sadie, see? And let me just say a few things about Sadie.
Don't say her name. She's gonna walk in on us totally talking shit about her. That's like a classic Sadie thing to do.
She is so full of sanctimonious shit, I can't even stand her lately. I can't even.
Damn, girl, you don't even care, do you? You just don't even give a fuck, do you?
She's just strutting around, she's just fixing the world, she's just walking around the halls like she's Oprah Winfrey's bastard broke-ass stepsister. I can't even.
Whoa, you lay off Oprah, Janaya. You step off.
Okay, well, Oprah left us, and now that shit doesn't work here anymore. She's done with this city. She got smart. She flew the coop because she knows what's up. No time for dreams, time to stay woke. And you know that, and I know that, but these kids, they don't. So when someone tells them, when someone lies to them and says, oh, you're so special and you're great and everything's going to be just fine. When Sadie puts that in their heads.
Hold up. They are special. They are great, and they are gonna be fine.
I didn't mean.
You didn't mean to say our kids are stupid and dumb and useless. It just came out like that, right? Just sounded like that, right?
You do what, Luce? What, 5 classes a day? 150 kids maybe? Full workload?
This isn't about.
I do 200 all day. 6 classes from Down syndrome to any spectrum of autism and a bunch of other crazy shit nobody's ever even heard of, to the troubled kids who you guys can't deal with, so they trickle down to me. And I fight for them. I bring them up. I go out of my way every day to prove everybody else wrong. I do that, okay? I do that. And they are special. They're great. But they are not going to be fine. Fine is for white kids and Northside kids and all the other kids who aren't our kids. Our kids have to work and work 3 times as hard, or else nobody's gonna think twice. End of story. Close the book. That's what's happening. Now this kid was told not to start that website. This kid started it anyway. This kid went against the school and did something he shouldn't have. And if there are no ramifications for that, then ADR that scares the hell out of me, Luce. That ADR that freaks me out. It scares me. ADR.
What is that? Stop saying that.
ADR?
What is that?
It's all due respect. Don't you read the graffiti?
Well, okay then. ADR, whatever you keep putting in that microwave smells like melted down orangutan. ADR, Janaya.
Don't hate on my food. Don't.
ADR.
Luce. Okay, usually you're nice and you're smart and you take my side because you know that we're both
Latino?
smart, shithead.
Okay.
We're both smart. And I know this isn't up to me.
Yeah, I know. This is up to Ricky.
And he's an even bigger idiot than Oprah Winfrey. Now, I'm sorry, but I'm not living in a world where I believe that the crazy revolution of one high and mighty senior can suddenly turn us all into freedom writers who can step it up to the streets and teach all these dangerous minds Mr. Holland's opus. ADR, I am not drinking that Kool-Aid. The clock is ticking. It's December, Luce, December. You started looking for something else for the fall? Any other schools at all? Oh no, don't answer that. Of course you haven't. Start now. Get your resume, get your recommendations, get it all together, and don't wait. Take it from me, okay? There needs to be a separation. If not, you're gonna get trapped.
Hi, my name is Tashi Thomas, class of 2008. I am an actor currently living in New York City. I am proud to present Lydia, written by Octavio Solis, a critically acclaimed pioneer and heroic voice in US Latinx theater. Joining me are Olivia Gren, reading stage directions, Leslie Romero in the role of Cecilia, and Anthony Perez in the role of Alvaro. In Lydia, Solis depicts a Mexican-American family shattered by an accident that left Cecilia brain damaged and trapped inside her body a mere 3 days before her quinceañera. The following scene takes place 2 years later. Cousin Alvaro, now 22, has returned to the Flores home to find Ceci in her quinceañera dress. Without further ado, I present Lydia.
Time, the early 70s in winter. Place, the living room of Flores' home in El Paso, Texas. Early 70s furnishings, a sofa with a coffee table, its surface scratched and stained. An old lazy boy facing the TV. A stereo console with a set of headphones attached. A door to the front porch. A darkened hallway to the bedrooms. An entry to the kitchen. In the foreground, by the TV, a small mattress with pillows and stuffed animals. Ceci's condition. For most of the play, Ceci lies on her mattress, locked in her body in a semi-vegetative state. Her body's muscles rigid, her hands curled and fingers knuckled. She undergoes degrees of spasticity which come and go in ways that score the play. Her voice has fallen back into her throat and her eyes unfocused. Her powers of expression are utterly buried in a neurological prison. A knock. Alvaro in his street clothes steps in, a bag draped over his arm.
Tío? Tío Claudio? Hello? Hey, Ceci. Your dad hibernates like a bear. Oye, about last week, I haven't been the same since.
He comes toward her, touches her dress.
That day I came over. You were wearing this.
I wanted to see what 15 looked like.
But it wasn't finished yet. None of us were.
Some scratchy AM radio tune plays from somewhere down the hall. Alvaro hears it and then starts in its direction. Lights change. Ceci stirs and calls,
Bartle!
Hey, Ceci, I heard the radio and whoa, look at you.
What do you think? You like it?
Turn around, prima, you look fine. Is it finished?
Almost. Just some hemming to do. Why are you looking at me like that?
I had no idea my cuz was such a fox. You're turning into a real beauty.
Hey, you better come to my quinceañera.
I'm there. I just can't get too messed up because you know I'm shipping out the next morning.
I wish you didn't have to go. Can't you get some exemption or something?
Actually, Ceci, I want to go.
But why? Don't you watch the body counts on the news?
Sure I do. That's why I need to be there. My mom and dad, when they came over, they had nothing. Being American means a lot to them. Come on, you know this. We got a flag on our porch.
But you're the brain of the family. You should be in college.
Mira, Ceci, the truth is, since graduation, I felt like some discipline's gone AWOL in my life. And what better way to get it back than to do my duty por Tío Sam?
God, you are something. Vardo, will you, be my first dance at my quinceañera?
That's reserved for your father.
But after him, the next dance. Will you ask me? I mean, never mind. What am I thinking, huh?
Cecilia Rosario, may I have the honor of throwing some chancla with you?
She smiles and offers her hand. They dance to some Temptation song on the radio.
I hope they play this song.
I'll see that they do. Anyways, is Renee home?
No, he's running errands for Mom. What's up?
I gotta talk to that dude. There's something I gotta tell him.
Tell me. I'll tell him.
No, this is personal guy stuff, Ceci.
Is it drugs?
What? No.
Are you guys toking up or something?
God, you've been watching too much Mod Squad, Essa. Just tell him I came by. Tell him I had to put my car in the shop.
Your car.
Tell him tonight's my only night. That's all. I got a split, but you're gonna kill him in this.
He turns to leave.
Alvaro, wait.
She kisses him hard on the mouth. He's startled.
Oh my God. Ceci.
He kisses her back.
I knew it. I knew you liked me. The first time at the Bronco drive-in with you in the backseat with my brothers. I let my hand slip into yours under the blanket. We held it tight on your lap, which was so warm. That's when I knew. Te quiero, Alvaro. Te quiero mucho. Oh my God, I can't believe what I'm saying.
Me neither.
I've come of age. I don't need no party to prove it. I know what I feel.
Ceci, you're my cousin.
You want me? That's all you have to say, do you?
In ant language, that means you're the queen.
Leaping into his arms.
I knew it. I knew it. Take me with you.
Take you?
You and Renee are taking Dad's car tonight and partying, huh?
Oh, shit. Renee.
Can I come? I won't be any trouble. It'll be fun, like the three of us at the drive-in.
No, Ceci, and you can't tell anybody this. It's guys' night out. That's all.
Please let me come. If you want me, you'll let me come.
He kisses her long and deep. The lights change back. The radio fades. When Alvaro pulls away, Ceci is restored to her brain-damaged state. End scene.
Hi, my name is Rachel Annette. Hi, my name is Rachel Annette, class of 2011. I wrote the play last night and directed this short scene. In the play, the day after a tragedy at a queer bar, 4 women gather together to try to find joy despite their shared trauma. The play ends with the line, "Happiness is an act of resistance," which is a theme throughout the play. In this scene, 3 of the 4 women have just entered the bar and are figuring out what's at stake for each of them.
Last Night by Rachel Lynette. Cast of characters. Stage directions read by Alexa DeVito.
Rory, a bartender, read by Lyric Medeiros.
Leslie, a costume designer, read by Irina Wan.
Sarah, a grad student, read by Olivia Gren.
A Bar, Los Angeles, California, 2019. Sarah looks around the bar, almost as if she's in a museum.
Are you okay?
I got this cut from jumping in.
Same. I practically broke my arm.
Oh my God, you did not.
The Band-Aids are behind the bar.
Leslie leans over the counter and pulls out a first aid kit and slides it over to Sarah. Rory finishes the drink. Sarah puts the Band-Aid on.
Thanks.
Sarah stands up suddenly.
I'm sorry, I can't.
What the fuck?
You can't what?
Sit there. How much is it?
$10.
We broke in. She's not charging you.
Leslie and Rory do a fast, not serious standoff, and Rory relents.
Oh, well, could I donate?
What's
Sarah
happening?
pulls out a wad of cash from her backpack and tries to hand it to Rory.
What's happening?
You broke in to leave a bunch of cash?
Before I came here, I kind of organized I guess you could call it a compassion drive, like a fund to help rebuild the bar. It's about $1,000. I was hoping to run into the owner and give it to
Breaking in.
Of which we are also guilty.
I think it's exactly $1,250.
You raised exactly $1,250 in one day?
Mostly. I may have personally rounded out the number.
By adding 1,000?
Rory.
Who raises 1,000?
Maybe I could, I don't know. It felt like the right thing to do. And I assumed no one would be here.
So you were going to leave it for the cops to find?
I could stop in later and then I could give it to the owner.
Is it bad that I'm tempted to put this in the tip jar?
Please don't. It's for the victims. It's for the people who died.
I'm not the owner.
Oh. I assumed because, do you know her?
Yeah, I'll give it to her.
Thanks.
Sarah walks around the bar. Leslie and Rory exchange glances.
I mean, I guess I can't stop you from taking a picture, if you want. Leslie's right. We're all breaking the law already anyway.
Thanks. I just want to record what I've bared witness to.
Mm-hmm.
Or witness to, I mean.
Sarah starts taking pictures. She gets incredibly serious about it. She gets really close to the different places and maybe even takes a few pictures twice.
How's your bourbon?
It kind of tastes like honey, but like honey that a bear shat in.
Not a fan?
Not a fan. I'm gonna finish it anyway because my dad taught me to never waste alcohol, but it is not pleasant.
Rory reaches for the drink and downs it.
What do you really want to drink? Beer?
Yes, please.
Rory grabs a bottle of beer and opens it for Leslie.
No tap?
It, got damaged.
Is that why it's kind of warm?
Probably, the electricity's probably off.
Then how is there ice?
I'm not sure, actually. Maybe it's weird. Or maybe it's wired differently.
I was wondering why the alarm didn't go off.
Who would have had time to set it? I know I didn't.
Sarah suddenly starts crying. It's quiet at first. Rory notices but doesn't say anything. And then Sarah gets louder. Not dramatically. She's just emotional.
You okay?
No, I'm obviously not okay.
Your paper getting too personal.
Sarah tries to get herself to stop crying. Maybe she's successful, maybe she isn't, but either way, she's quieter. She moves closer to the bar. She sits down at a different bar stool. Rory pours her a shot of tequila. Sarah takes it and drinks it quickly.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. I figured someone would cry. I obviously thought that someone would be me or Leslie, since no one else is supposed to be
She
in.
gets it.
Why are you here?
Weird question.
I didn't mean it like, what are you doing here? I meant it more like, oh my fucking God, what are they doing here?
Hard pass on answering that. What are you doing here?
I wanted to...
For the record, the backpack is overkill. Like when I was in school, I didn't roll into theaters. I didn't work out with a backpack, especially ones I wasn't supposed to be in.
You work in theater?
I do. I'm a costume designer.
And you're wearing that?
Thanks for the borderline shade. So, you want to talk about your feelings now or not?
I was supposed to be here last night. I had a date.
Cute.
Aren't you worried that the cops might, like, I don't know, arrest us? Like, I was just coming to get a picture. You two are drinking at a crime scene. Like, don't they patrol here?
They do.
And you're just hanging out? Do you want to get caught?
I think I'd be cute in those little jumpers they make you wear.
You'd be wearing your normal clothes. It'd be jail, not prison.
Isn't this a felony?
I mean, maybe, but they're not going to put us in prison.
They put us in prison for a lot less.
Rory pours shots for all three of them.
I can't just drink tequila like that.
Rory cuts a slide of lime for Leslie.
I doubt that'll help.
It's the good stuff. You'll be fine.
So you're not going to tell me why?
Just be happy she let you stay.
The three of them take the shot.
So who's your date with?
This girl I met at the supermarket.
You met someone at the supermarket? How has that been possible?
I was wearing, you know that shirt that's like a woman's place in the House and the Senate? Well, she saw it and we just started talking. I was super put off at first, like, can I please just get my groceries in peace? But she was, I don't know, she was hot. That helped. But you could also tell she was really smart, like really smart.
What date was it?
Third, we were supposed to come here to dance.
Cute.
Were you working last night?
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what was her name?
What?
The hot, smart grocery store date?
Aida.
No.
What?
Aida Reyes?
God, are lesbians that incestuous?
Yes, duh, but not in this case. Was it Aida Reyes?
Yes.
You're right, she is hot.
Was.
Right. Was. Sorry.
Sarah shrugs, but she's not okay.
It's weird to lose someone who meant something to you, but wasn't like we weren't in love. We hadn't even slept together yet. But there's no more random texting in the middle of the day or totally random couplets from poetry. I can't even admit to her that I didn't know who half the poets she was talking about were.
No one does.
How do you know her?
She was my sister.
You called her hot.
Oh, not biological. Sorority. We both applied to try it out, but then both quit because we were like, we're too gay for this.
Hi, my name is Giancarlo Junen. I graduated in 2017. I'm originally from the Dominican Republic and currently based in Los Angeles. You are about to see a scene from Eliza and Riley's Good Cuban Girls. Eliza graduated in 2011. This play centers around the character of Marisol, a young Cuban-American college student, and her relationship with the two generations of Cuban women that precedes her, and as well as the relationship with her American boyfriend, as she struggles with what a woman's right to choose means. And what you're about to see, Marisol's boyfriend Todd has come down to visit Marisol at her mother's house. This scene takes place after a dinner scene that went horribly due to Todd's well-meaning but misguided understanding of Marisol's culture. In the scene, Marisol has taken Todd to a bench by the river to talk about the secret that she's been carrying. And hope you enjoy.
You did say she was a liberal when it comes to religion.
I need to read you something. Something I've been writing. A poem.
Oh, I'm glad you're practicing.
Just listen for a second. I want to know what you think.
Mary, you know I'm always happy to give you feedback. I want to make you a better writer.
Listen to the whole thing before you give me feedback.
Okay.
I love you. I love you. I love you. It might be adolescent, but we're growing up together. Learning about this thing. Love. Firsts. But I'm growing. Growing inside and outside and questioning everything. I love you. I hate politics, but I talk about it with you. A lot. More than I should. More than anybody wants to hear. But I love you. Because of the things we share, our differences, similarities. And I'll need you. When we exchange cards on Mother's Day and Father's Day. Because we might be young, and even though we ain't got money, I'm in love with you, honey. And we'll love our baby together. Because I love you. So what do you think?
Well, how long did it take you to write that?
About a week.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't find the right words.
Well, I think it could still use some work. Can I see the written text? See, what pops for me is the repetition of "I love you," but I do have questions about the simple nature of the prose. The exchanging of cards is intriguing to me. Is there a title?
Yeah. It's called Todd, I'm Pregnant.
That's the title of the poem?
Yeah.
Is that like a working title?
No, it's pretty much set in stone.
Is this like a hypothetical or?
It's like for real. Like 3 months late, peed on a stick and saw a plus sign pregnant.
Is this still part of the poem?
No, Todd, I'm actually pregnant. The poem was just my way of telling you.
Oh. So you don't actually want my feedback?
On the poem, no. On the prospect of having a child with me, yes. Would love to know your thoughts.
Well, are you sure you're pregnant? Just because you gained a little weight.
Yes, I'm sure. I know I am. I took a test.
Well, have you been to a doctor? Those tests aren't always reliable, you know.
No, but believe me, I took the test 3 times. 3 different sticks, 3 different plus signs. I even bought a 4th one, but there's no point in taking it. I haven't told anyone else yet. I thought you should be the first to know.
Oh. So?
What are you thinking? I know that this is all kind of a sudden and not what you expected coming down here, but I didn't want to tell you over the phone and... Todd.
Yeah?
Sorry, well, I was kind of hoping you would say something.
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. I never really imagined being caught in these circumstances.
Me neither.
So, now that we are?
How? How did this happen?
What do you mean, how did this happen?
We were like really careful. We did everything we were supposed to do.
No, we didn't.
I knew you should have.
What? I should have what?
You should have stayed on the pill.
I hated being on the pill. I was having those horrible mood swings and I couldn't concentrate. What?
I don't know. All I know is you called me saying that you missed me and wanted to see me before I go on the retreat. And I can't stay at your house because of your family's cultural, religious hang-ups. And I think I'm here to come over to dinner and make out with you by this river. And instead you read me a shitty poem and tell me that you're pregnant? And I don't know how the hell to respond right now, so will you just give me a minute? All I said was that we were being responsible.
I told you when I went off the pill.
I know.
I didn't hide anything from you.
I didn't say you did. Just please, let me think for a minute. Please.
Okay.
So, you haven't told anybody else yet?
No, I thought you should be the first to know. If my mother knew, she would be so disappointed and ashamed. This is pretty much the worst thing I could have possibly done. And there's this part of me that was just hoping that this would all go away, like it was just some terrible dream that I'm gonna wake up from.
How late did you say you were?
3 months.
And you haven't been to a doctor yet?
No. Well, I thought maybe, I was hoping that the test would be wrong, but I mean, I guess that was stupid.
Yeah, I mean, no. I don't know. You should probably go to one soon, right? If you want, I'll go with you before I go to Lake George.
Really? Thanks. I mean, I knew you would be.
Yeah, I can get there a day late. Say I had a family emergency or something. I'll go with you. We should probably go like tomorrow. I think there's a time limit on this kind of thing.
Right. It's generally 9 months. What?
Well, I thought. So you're gonna keep it? Definitely?
Yeah, I thought. What were you thinking?
Well, I don't know. I thought that maybe.
What?
Well, you said you were wishing this would all go away.
Because it will break my mother's heart.
So I thought what you meant by that
Was that I was planning on having an abortion?
Well, yeah.
But I thought
What?
we talked about having kids someday.
Yeah, someday. Not now. Someday after we graduate and get jobs and get married and then like a couple of years later, then have kids. That was the plan we talked about.
But I'm pregnant now. So maybe we move the plan up a little bit. Maybe we could get married now.
Are you nuts?
Well, why not? We were going to get married eventually anyway.
We're too young.
We're old enough to have a kid.
I'm not so sure about that.
Well, I know I am.
We don't have any money.
We get jobs.
And drop out of school?
We could go part-time.
There's no way my parents are
We were
gonna...
planning on getting married anyway, and that would at least take some of the shame out of it. I mean, at least this way, La Cotorra can't tell the whole fucking town that I'm having a baby out of wedlock with my gringo boyfriend. That would literally kill my grandmother.
I don't even know what you're talking about
It
anymore.
doesn't matter, okay? The point is, why don't we just move the plan up by a couple of years and get married?
Because I don't want to marry you, not yet.
But if we love each other.
I just don't think we're ready yet.
But we love each other. Todd, I said, Todd, I don't think I'm ready yet. And you said, but I love you.
We're too young. I don't want to marry you. I don't want to get married.
So you were just hoping that I was going to say that?
That it was all going to just go away? Yeah, kind of. I mean, you always believed in a woman's right to choose, so...
It's different.
How?
It's different when it's about me, when it's about our baby.
But it didn't cross your mind?
Yeah, I told you it did because I don't want to tell my mom because I know how badly this will hurt her. But well, I also thought how this could be a good thing for us because this is what we both wanted. Maybe not now, but someday. I guess.
What?
I guess I thought there might be a little part of you that would be happy about this.
Why? But how? What would make you think that?
It's your baby too. I thought you'd want to be a part of.
Look, I think you need to be the one to make the decision.
Do you love me, Todd? I mean, like, really love me.
Are you going to talk about getting married again?
There's this place like 45 minutes from here that does those kinds of procedures. I don't want to go anywhere close because I might run into someone who knows my mom. You know?
Right.
That would kind of defeat the purpose.
Yeah. I'll go with you. I can get to Lake George a day or two late. I'll just say I had a family emergency or something. I'll go with you.
No, you have to get back. I'll be fine.
It's getting dark. Why don't you let me drive you?
I don't want to go home. Not yet.
We could go somewhere else.
I like it here.
Okay.
Because it's by the water.
It's getting late. And I shouldn't leave you here by yourself.
I want to be alone for a little while.
I'll take you home.
I don't want you to.
It's getting late.
Please leave me alone. Please.
Okay. Will you call me when you get home? Mary.
Yeah. Just go.
Hello, my name is Naj Harabi. I'm class of 2019. I'm currently doing my MFA in film production at the University of Southern California. The play we chose for this edition of ND Theater Now is The World of Extreme Happiness by Asian American playwright Francis Yachu Koheg. A very relevant play. The play tells the story of Sunny, who was immediately abandoned into a bucket of slop by her parents upon her birth, because she was a girl. Sunny survives, obviously, and at the age of 14, she leaves her village and moves to the city and starts working in the factories, where she's introduced to the world of self-help books and self-help classes. The whole world of self-help and personal development is put to test when Sunny's friend Ming Ming is introduced to this world and ends up ruining her life because of it and because of Sunny's advice. The play juxtaposes the comedy and tragedy all throughout, by the way, and this scene that we chose is no exception. In this scene, we will be seeing how Sunny, who after many years of her birth is working in a factory and practicing her self-help knowledge until Ming Ming hears her. And I'll give you the scene.
Shenzhen factory, morning. Sunny cleans a bathroom. Ming Ming, a factory worker, enters. She wears a robe over her pajamas and carries her toothpaste and toothbrush in a toiletries bucket, decoupaged with photographs of Artemis Chang. She doesn't notice Sunny.
I am the most important person in the world. The things I say and do are important. They're full of meaning. If I wait for success, I will fail. Action is the only worthwhile thing.
Ming Ming takes a portable cassette recorder out of her pocket and presses play. She listens to the recording and mimes corresponding hand motions while brushing her teeth. Sunny continues mopping, but eyes her curiously. When shaking hands with the potential employer, first wipe your hand on your clothing to remove any sweat. Failure comes when the palm is clammy. A successful handshake lasts for at least 3 seconds, but never more than 7. If you hold on for too long, you'll give the impression of being needy. Please assume your personal power position and announce your mantra of the week. Ming Ming assumes her personal power position.
It is my destiny to make lots of money. Louder, more conviction. It is my destiny to make lots of money. Push, dig, and triumph. It is my destiny to make lots of money. Good improvement. Consolidate your gains.
Ming Ming holds her hands in prayer and seals it with a loud Om. Sunny clasps her hands in prayer, mimicking her, accidentally dropping her mop in the process. It crashes to the floor, startling Ming Ming, who shrieks and whirls around.
Sorry. Have you been here this whole time? Ugh.
What's the personal power position?
Ming Ming flosses her teeth.
A scientifically proven way to give yourself courage, conviction, and strength.
For what?
How do we act around city people?
Who?
Peasants.
Like we are small and stupid.
We think we're second-class citizens, and because we believe it, it becomes a reality. Action molds character, and character creates destiny.
So when you do your personal power positions in your
Mantra of the week.
What happens?
It reroutes the circuits of my brain and brings me 2 steps closer to changing my fate. Try it.
I'm on duty.
No one controls your brain. You can clean tile and change your fate.
It is my destiny to make lots of money.
Again.
It is my destiny to make lots of money.
I don't believe you.
It is my destiny to make lots of money.
Louder.
It is my destiny to make lots of money.
Again.
It is my destiny to make lots of money.
You just lit a dead part of your brain and activated some junk DNA.
Where did you learn this?
It's homework for a self-help class I take each evening.
You work a 12-hour shift and go to school afterwards?
It's like Aristotle said, excellence is a habit. We are what we do. Besides, it's fun. When you finish the course, you get a framed diploma from any university you want.
Who's that?
This brave woman is the vice president of PriceSmart, the company that sells everything we make in this factory. She was born in the countryside, but went to Harvard and Beijing University. Artemis Chang is living proof that we can climb the ladder of success and realize our dreams.
Sunny's cell phone goes off. She silences it. Ming Ming starts to leave.
I take the class with you?
What makes you think you have what it takes?
Because I believe that I do. And why I believe it, it becomes my reality.
A parrot can quote my words back to me. That doesn't make her worthy.
Kan parrot pay you 20 kwai?
90.
30.
80.
40.
60.
55.
Meet me by the North Gate at 6:40. Don't be late.
I won't thank you.
Thank yourself. You just made your dreams come true.
Ming Ming exits. Sunny tries her personal power position.
Good evening, everyone. The quest for the protagonist's origins has been a recurring issue in world drama. In some dramatic narratives, the discovery and revelation of one's origins become the purpose of the dramatic action. In others, the revelation of one's origins is the igniting force that catapults the protagonist to a trajectory and quest, carrying and bearing the memory of his origins like a chalice of blood. From Oedipus Rex to Miss Julie, from provenance to crave, the discovery of origins becomes the beginning of a movement from personal memory towards a memory shared by a society and a culture, and towards a consciousness of history. In the following monologue written by Daniel Feldman and developed for his class in acting for the non-major under me, the writer and performer explores his origins and identity, and in memorializing it, recuperates the histories and attitudes towards discrimination, race, identity, and the meaning of nation.
My name is not important. You will not ask it until you have seen my face, and so you have already decided who I am. I am a white American. I am a tall, strong, handsome man with brown hair and blue eyes. I am a white, straight, cisgender, red-blooded American male, and by your smile you have already given me your most precious gift, your acceptance. It is never questioned that I belong, and oh, he is a Christian too, God bless him. That's right. I am the complete package. My blood is red, my skin is white, and my eyes are blue. I am a patriot by the circumstance of my birth. I have done nothing to earn the title. But I have a secret. My grandfather is a black man. It is not a secret because I do not share it, but because you do not see it. So when I tell you who I am, you think, not really. My grandfather is dead now, so you cannot see him, nor can you tell that my mother is black from the color of her skin, for we have been blessed by her mother's complexion. You cannot see who I am, and when you do, it is whispered like some terrible secret. I'm sorry, but I just have to ask. Are you black? Like some forbidden fruit that you are just too curious not to taste. And without fail, it is always the hairdressers who notice first. Even then, when I tell you who I am, it comes with an asterisk in your mind. You're not really black, though. And how can I deny that? I have been raised in the best of both worlds. I am a white man who enjoys the benefits of affirmative action, and a black man who has never been pulled over because he looked suspicious. I have never looked into another man's eyes and seen fear by virtue of the color of my skin. And when I meet a white girl's parents, they are not surprised. By the time they find out who I am, their first impression has already been made. No. Those evils are my cousin's fate, not because they are any more black, but because they look it. And that is the problem. I have been born into the meritocracy of white America, the promised land of privilege, and I can manifest my destiny by the power of my own two hands, because my freedom is protected. So now you know who I am. I am a black man who looks white. In the lottery of American freedom, I won the genetic jackpot. I have been raised with undeserved privilege and unperturbed liberty because I do not stand out. And in the eyes of those around me, I am unstained by my ancestry. I am a black man who can only ever truly be an ally to my family because I do not share all of their struggles by the simple fact that I do not share the color of their skin. We are a house divided by racism that has been woven into the fabric of America a generation at a time. It does not matter that my black forefathers bled for freedom in this land before the founding of this country. It does not matter that I am proud of my black heritage just as much as my white. Because I look the one and not the other, I have been afforded the privilege of the one over the circumstance of the other. I have written these words because I look out upon the land I love and see hypocrisy. I see a nation that has forgotten that it is conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all are created equal. I see the tree of liberty watered by the blood of innocence and withering beneath the rule of hatred and ignorance. And because the world can no longer be allowed to forget these murders. They are a holocaust upon the altar of American freedom that have consecrated it far beyond our poor power to add or detract. Already we have begun a new summer of riots because we have spent these last 4 years in a winter not of delay, but of active assault on progress and social justice, even from the highest office of our land. These assaults have not been legislated so much as they have been spoken and written. They are words of racism and bigotry that empower racists and bigots to active violence. So now we stand in a war of civil disobedience as we rededicate ourselves to a new birth of freedom, that George Floyd and those countless others shall not have died in vain, and that this great experiment of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not perish from this earth. I have written these words because for too long I have not had the strength to speak them. Because when I think of the injustice of my privilege, I am at a loss. And because when I see that people in the streets of the country I love must march for their inalienable rights, I too cannot breathe. I'm pressing on the upward way. New heights I'm gaining every day. Still praying as I'm onward bound. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand by faith on heaven's stable land. A higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground.
Thank you very much for joining us for ND Anti-Racist Theater Now, Scenes from Plays by BIPOC Playwrights. In a few moments, we'll be starting a post-reading discussion, but first, I'd like to thank all the playwrights who so generously gave us permission to share their work this evening. And next, I'd like to welcome the ensemble back onto the Zoom stage for our curtain call, so we can offer them our thanks and a round of virtual applause. Welcome back, and thank you again to all the theater artists who contributed to this evening's scenes. Our discussion will start with the artists who are available to participate in this conversation this evening. So I'd like to welcome the artists back into the Zoom world, and we will begin the discussion with them. So as they're joining us, we'd like to start our discussion with a series of questions for our ensemble, and then we'll open it up to the questions you've submitted anonymously. We'll talk for about 30 minutes, and the ensemble that has joined us, please use the raise hand emoji so we can call on you when we ask the questions. So I'm going to hand it over now to my co-moderator, Lucas Garcia.
Hi, everyone. Great work. That was an amazing showing. Thank you so much for all your time and energy. So this question is for our playwrights and directors. These scenes showcase complicated, multifaceted characters, and many of whom are people of color. How did you feel writing and directing these characters? What did you learn? Tashi, go ahead.
I don't know where the raised hand emoji is. I apologize. So I just raised my actual hand. But yeah, so the question, repeat the tail end of it for me. It's
Sure.
How did you feel?
How did you feel writing and directing these characters? What did you learn?
So directing these characters felt like I was wearing a really warm blanket. It was just comforting. And I can't say much more beyond that. It was just so comforting to be directing BIPOC characters. In terms of what did I learn? I learned so much, and not only from the characters, but also from the actors that I was working with. Me and Tony, Leslie, and Liv, we had discussions about, I remember we talked about Tony's monologue when he was going into American pride and why Mexican American pride and why he was joining the military. And Tony, do you remember this? I remember asking, that's all well and good, but what does that have to do with joining the military and dying? And the way that Tony phrased it was just so wonderful when it made me realize that it was about inclusion. He said something about not only defending American values, but also doing what Americans do. I am an American, we are at war, and so I'm going to go. And I thought that was so profound, the way that he said it. And in terms of Leslie, she really taught me so much about trust and vulnerability. And I think that as an actor, when I am approaching these situations in which I'm playing, a BIPOC character, and there are lots of white forces at play, right? The executive producers and the directors. And so I don't trust the situation 9 times out of 10. So even though I'm playing myself, and this is not a sort of a colorblind forced situation, it's really hard to open up and really act and bring your characters to life with the trust that they're not microaggressions, or that this is not going to be manipulated in a certain way to make the situation not what you would want it to be. And so what I loved about Leslie, she really opened up to the process. And so that's what I learned from, a few things that I learned from this experience.
Thank you, Tashi. Other thoughts? Arisa Ann?
Yeah, I was having the same issue with Tashi, but I think I figured out the raise hand thing. First of all, I connect to a lot of what Tashi said. I think as a writer, when I was writing this play and creating these characters, I just wanted to capture like what my family is like. And I think it's hard, and I wasn't seeing that on stage, of like a family that speaks one half all speaks in Spanish. so to me, it was just like, oh, I just want to write and create my truth and what that is. And that doing that in other plays and over the course of a few years, that's come with more challenges than I expected. So having this, first of all, thank you for doing this, and having a place to hear these words and have this community means so much. And I think it's just like, I think we write, as a writer, you write plays to try to figure things out or to try to figure out how you can express all of the things you're feeling that are hard to do, I think are hard to do in real life. And like, this was a really complex way of saying like, this is what, how I experience the world as a like Cuban, Catholic, Latina, liberal, and writing that into a play was kind of a way of figuring that out, of the complexity of identity and relationships, and when you come up against other relationships in the world. So for me, that's what it is. It's a matter of kind of like preserving my family and who we are.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing all that.
And the other directors have some thoughts? And actually, you can just raise your hand. I think I can't see the emojis anyhow. So, Giancarlo.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to what Eliza had said. Also, because I mean, the way that I approach it kind of took me back to like just like moving to like the first few years that I moved to the US, right? Like I grew up in the Dominican Republic for 18 years. And like, it's something that like someone once told me that like you're not a Mexican until you leave Mexico. Like for this person, for me, it's like I wasn't necessarily like a Dominican. Because I didn't have to identify myself as Dominican in the Dominican Republic. I didn't have to identify myself as Spanish, Lebanese, Dominican in order to be able to explain what my identity was, because I was just like part of my culture and part of where I was. And so like it's a different approach of like what Eliza was saying in terms of like not seeing yourself on stage. Like everywhere where I came from was me and like was part of me, and I didn't have to like compartmentalize the part of me that was like Lebanese, the part of me that's like more like Dominican. And like my first few years, like especially at Notre Dame, is when I realized like how my identity shifted because of where I was and how I needed to like the interaction with different cultures kind of clash, like not necessarily clash, but like there were certain things that I wasn't aware of, not having been in the US for 18 years, and like people like what I thought was like common language was different. And I found out like Anne did a really good job of like inserting those nuances in terms of like how like the different experiences of the characters infuse how they go through the world. And it was something that like immediately I can understand like the family's relationship to religion and like what is going through Marisol's head in terms of like what like where like the responsibility that one holds to their family that's not the same in American families as like Latina American families, right? So there were some things that like I was able to just jump in and like approach from a different way, I guess.
Maria, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I mean, I had a very similar experience to Giancarlo, so I'm like echoing a lot. When I came to Notre Dame, I came from Guatemala, where, you know, everyone's Guatemalan, and suddenly here you come and you're Latinx. And that definitely impacted the amount of works and the type of projects you got to work. So how I felt working on the scene, I felt great because I was finally working on, like, my scene was Latinx characters, I'm Latinx, and it was just a great opportunity because unfortunately it's an opportunity we don't have as often as, say, I did back home where everyone was Guatemalan. So yeah, I'm really grateful that FTT did this. I really enjoyed it. And something I learned, because that was also part of the question, something I learned in my scene, I guess, is sort of this balance of wanting to create change, but also acknowledging reality, the way things are and how these things are not necessarily contradicting each other, but can be used to help build up of each other. Through Janaya, especially in Exit Strategy, I really noticed this, how being aware of the injustices that are around us sure can be negative, can bring us down, but it can also give us the motivation to fight it and to find ways to create change. So that is something I learned through my process with my lovely actors. And yeah, I'm really grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you, Maria. Let's see, Anton, did you have any thoughts to share? You're muted.
I'm sorry about that. So in my acting for the non-majors class and for my CSEM class in creating theater and film as social action, I decided that instead of imposing scenes on them, that the students should write their own monologues, you know, that would resonate and speak about the events that are happening in the nation right now and globally as well. And in the process, I learned something. I learned, well, when Daniel said, I am a white, Black American, and I started to think that there are such classifications of interpretations of race that are not, that is like a Crayola box, you know, like in the Philippines when the Americans came, and in order for them to justify their presence and their expansionism, and actually it was going to be an imperialist age, the Americans made propaganda films, and Thomas Alva Edison made some films of propaganda, and the ones who were playing Filipinos were Black Americans, were Black people. And so when people ask during that period, you know, what were the Filipinos called? They were called Indios or brown Blacks. You know, so you had these kinds of classifications, and these classifications reveal, these origins reveal other, you know, colonialist modes, other modes of oppression, and other societal phenomena of discrimination and race and identity. And for me, this was very, very important in the work of Daniel, you know, that he grew from that origin into a speaking to the world about a global problem of identity and discrimination. And that was for me the most valuable thing that I learned as a professor, you know, working with Daniel's work. And it's I'm very as a professor, I always learn from my students' works. So in my assigning them to do work, it's also like you learn from their work, you know, so it's like a give and take there. And I love it. I love the work. I love the task. And I think I would like to thank Daniel for his work on this and contribute, because it's almost like a confession. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Anton, and all the directors. We're going to move on to our second question. This is for the actors. And I'm going to ask this one. So BIPOC theater artists must often reaffirm that representation matters. The question is, how has representation mattered to you as current students? Any thoughts? Yeah, Leslie?
I think in theater, currently, the default of a lot of shows and a lot of parts is white, and the default for side characters tends to be brown or like not the standard. So I think it's important to have representation to change that default and have it be like more variety, like, and see more people of color in these starring roles rather than just in the background.
Yes, thank you. That's very important. And part of our whole initiative with this webinar has been looking at anti-racism approaches and looking at racial equity in our department and in the field. So I want to echo the importance of your reflection. Other thoughts? Yes, Lamont.
So growing up, my favorite movie was Spider-Man, and of course, Tobey Maguire was my favorite. And when I got to college, Into the Spider-Verse came out, and I remember watching Miles Morales and being like, wow, if that had come out when I was a kid, how impactful that would have been, because I'm from Queens, he's Black and Hispanic, and it's definitely something that resonated with me. And for sure, I watched that movie maybe like once every 2 months just to make sure, just to get a reminder of what like inspired me from that movie. And I really enjoy when I get to see representation that matters.
Great, thank you so much, Lamont. Other thoughts? Tim, and then Anna.
I think to understand what representation means, and as a member of the Latinx community, sometimes we don't see ourselves very much represented on Broadway. But the whole idea behind representation, especially within this community, is that these types of the shows written by BIPOC, and the fact that we have to even think about performances and productions that are written and directed by people of color is a little disheartening, because theater has one voice that is not just meant for one group and one people of one color, but it's meant for everyone. And I think as we continue to adapt and create more representation, it kind of pushes this narrative that we don't have to think of these productions that are actually incorporating people of color as revolutionary or as breaking the status quo, because we finally push for that representation so that everyone can, as we can hope, be equal, and everything is seen with the same lens, so that it isn't just that these productions by BIPOC are now all of a sudden so new, even though they've been written and created for as long as any other theater has been. So this representation can finally allow these voices to be heard, so that they aren't just these voices that are never heard, but they're heard all the time, just like all of the non, I guess, like the white stereotype of theater.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're working, towards equity, and that's your vision of equity is really powerful. Anna.
Along the lines of that, it's just the idea that like we're constantly watching media, we're constantly watching television, constantly like consuming the entertainment industry, and whatever you see on a screen, it's always something you're going to compare yourself to. You're always going to think, well, if I want to do that, or if I want to be there, I need to look a certain way or act a certain way or fit into a certain mold. And it's easy to get caught up in that mentality. So even within like the representation that is offered sometimes of the Latinx community or like other communities, it tends to be very stereotypical, which at the same time is not as productive because it's just like not realistic. And so I thought that all of these plays had a very like real element to them, which was really nice and very important because it's not something we see a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of echoes Lucas's question of, that these characters are multifaceted and complicated. And that was one of the reasons why we chose them, was that it was not drawing from, as you were saying, on a stereotype. It's really looking at how can each community that we're exploring be complicated and multi-layered, generational at times, and really looking at how complicated these characters can be and need to be. Any other thoughts? Yes, Tony or Anthony.
I think too, kind of zooming out and looking at theater from a more meta perspective, thinking about both actors and like playwrights and directors, it's really important to give BIPOC representatives in theater the freedom to fail. I know coming in to this, I am a brown Latino man who likes theater and likes hip hop. And automatically, I know when I say that, people think I have to be the next Lin-Manuel Miranda to really mean anything. And I love him. He is a genius. I am not the next Lin-Manuel. I think the ability to break into a theater or a specific play or role and have the risk be taken. I mean, you see all the time in theater, very mediocre plays are made or roles are cast by white people, and no one makes a fuss about it. But if a BIPOC actor is failing a role, it sets other people in that category back. And I think having the ability to fail without that impacting the rest of your community, that kind of pressure is huge on our mental well-being.
I completely concur. Yes, Liv.
I'm not totally sure if this is answering the question, but I think as a white woman, it's really difficult sometimes to put yourself into other people's shoes as much as I want to. So for me, I was so grateful that FTT put this on, and so honored to have worked with Tashi and Rachel and all the other actors. And I think it was just such a good learning opportunity, and it was so awesome to listen and learn and understand from all of the different stories.
Great, thank you so much. Other actors have thoughts they want to share? Yes, Daniel.
Yeah, so the question, if I recall correctly, is that BIPOC theater artists must often reaffirm that representation matters and how that representation has mattered to you. So I've not been terribly involved in Notre Dame's theater scene until this year. That said, representation for me has always mattered a great deal, partially because as a high yellow, it's often referred to a Black person, which means a Black person that looks white. Representation of authentic African-American characters or people of color, characters of color, you don't see that very often. You see a lot of white interpretations of what those people, people of color, should act like and should do. And so they are not as complex and as real as they should be. And in recent years, especially out of like Hollywood and stuff, we've seen better representation. And having that reflected here at Notre Dame as well, with things like these readings, where we see more complex characters and more real characters of color, has been really important to me, because I know that that speaks to people like my mother and my family who do live more of that life than I do. So I don't know, it's an odd thing, because I walk a world in between the two. But I think that's incredibly important, that finally we're starting to see more authentic representation.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Lyric.
Thank you, Anne. I think one of the wonderful things about theater is its ability to share a message and spread a message and make an impact on an audience. And I'm just so thankful for the opportunity to do that, especially tonight. Last semester, I was part of ND, the T on ND. It was directed by Maria, and it showed me that theater, yes, it moves people. Yes, it makes people feel happy or sad, but it has the ability to spread a strong message, and it's able to spread that message in a way that is indescribable. It touches the hearts of people in an emotional way, and I think that's very powerful. So I'm just very thankful for this opportunity to do this again, and I think it's great that Notre Dame puts on productions like these that truly make an impact, so that as actors we're able to share our passion with others, but also do it for a purpose, and for a great purpose in this case. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So we actually will have time just for one question. We got a few that came in. Some of them were sort of looking at some larger issues around the definition of anti-racist theater. There was one for the actors that I want to ask. There's a question: what elements of the characters you played were familiar to your real life experiences and which were unfamiliar? Does anyone want to take a...
Lamont?
Oh, Lamont, yes.
So junior year, my high school actually closed due to a lack of funds. And it's called St. Anthony's High School. And I remember a lot of the emotions that I had to play in exit strategy, because you build a bond with this building, with this community, and it just gets taken away from you because you just don't have enough funds. And I remember just the frustration that I had, but I never got to see the teacher's perspective. And that's one that was unfamiliar to me when I was reading the play with Lyric and Maria. And it just definitely, it made me feel more in tune with what the teachers were feeling and the frustration they were going through. I mean, as a student, you feel frustration, but you don't really get a sense of appreciation for the teacher's frustration too, until you have to see it from their perspective. And I think that was huge for me tonight.
Thank you, Lamont. Other thoughts? Yeah, Tony.
Tashi actually brought this up in her answer about, I have this little monologue about why Alvaro wants to join the military. And I related to that a lot. My family, my mom's parents and her siblings moved here from El Salvador right before the Civil War. And thinking about the turmoil that we just barely avoided, and the fact that I went from, my grandparents don't have past a middle school education, and my mom is a lawyer and I am at Notre Dame right now. I owe a lot to this country. And even though it certainly has its flaws, I very much relate to the need to pay it forward in some way. For a lot of Latinx people, that's the military. We're seeing increasingly my people going into the public sector, whether it's like healthcare or politics. And yeah, I think immigrants in a lot of ways pay forward so much, not only out of necessity, but just because we feel such reciprocity that's needed for all this.
Thank you so much. We have maybe time for one more comment from one of the actors. Yes, Leslie.
Kind of similarly to Tony, my parents crossed a border, actually with me on the way. So I connected a lot with my character in that she also was born here, but her parents are from Mexico. So just the feeling of like being neither from here, from there, but a mixture of both was very familiar to me. And I guess a bit unfamiliar was, I felt like my characters were a bit closer to Latin American culture than I grew up with. So it was interesting being in that, like playing that part where like I get to be closer to a culture than I have been in the past.
Thank you so much. We have to actually wrap it up, which I feel like we could go on talking for at least another hour, but people have to get on with their evenings. I know we're all very busy at this time this semester. So I would just like to again thank all of our wonderful ensemble for bringing us these scenes this evening, our playwrights, directors, and actors. This concludes the first FTT ND Anti-Racist Theater Now webinar. And I want to thank all the folks who helped all 3 evenings and afternoons possible. And this is the start of a conversation that will continue. So please continue to reach out to FTT and to all the folks who you met tonight. And we look forward to the ongoing conversation to make our department, our university, and our field more equitable and more whole. Thank you so much.